everybody, this is Alex from Just Another Day in the NBA. The start of this NBA season has been full of surprises, and yet we've still seen plenty of players who continue to not receive enough credit for their performance on the court. While there are plenty of players who we could mention here, we narrowed it down to the 5 players we think don't get shown enough love by NBA fans and the media. We looked at everything from box scores to advanced metrics and on and off data to determine our ranking of the top 5 most underrated players in the NBA. Coming in at number 5, Danilo Gallinari. While being a steady, efficient scoring wing who can create for himself and rebound at a solid rate, Gallinari has never gotten the love he deserves. Despite being involved in 2 of the NBA's biggest trades this decade, the one sending Carmelo Anthony to the Knicks and Paul George to the Clippers, Gallinari still flies under the radar. That being said, Gallinari grades out as one of the NBA's more efficient scoring wings, and while he might not be an all-star, he's closer to that level than he gets consideration for. Last season, he took his efficiency to a new level, shooting 46.3% from the field and 43.3% from beyond the arc, on 5.5 attempts per game. Not only is he efficient shooting the ball, but he's efficient with his possessions. His 8.5% turnover rate grades out in the 87th percentile of all NBA players, and so far this year, he's posting an 8.7% mark. Gallo is an elite free throw shooter. Last year, he shot 90.4% from the stripe, his 3rd straight year over 90%, and this year, he's sitting at 90.9%. The only thing that has stopped him so far has been injuries. So here's hoping he's able to put together a healthy season this year. Gallinari may be grouped into the scoring wing archetype, similar to a player like Tobias Harris, but that overlooks the fact that he's so much more efficient than almost all of these other similar players. He gets to the line and shoots threes much more often, and makes those shots at a higher clip, creating a much more efficient scorer. And that, coupled with his low turnover rate, makes Danilo Gallinari one of the most sneaky effective players the league has seen in a long time. At number 4, Jrue Holiday. Even though Holiday secured a hefty payday a few summers ago, signing a 5-year, $131 million contract that pays him almost $27 million this season, Holiday still manages to fly under the radar. Of course, the arrival of Zion Williamson in New Orleans deserves to generate headlines, but we can't overlook the fact that Holiday has been producing there for years. And there's an argument to be made that he's one of the best defenders, if not the best defender, in the league at the point guard position. His raw assist numbers are solid, but his underlying assist rate is even better, coming in just under 32% last year and over 30% in 6 of the past 7 years. He's also good for a steal and a half and about a block per game, and his on and off numbers on the defensive end are elite. He eclipsed the 20 points per game mark last year for the 2nd time in his career, averaging 21.3 points per game, and has become a much more efficient shooter, shooting 49.4% and 47.2% the past 2 seasons, even while dramatically upping his 3-point attempts during the past 5 seasons. Holiday's rebounding is also strong for a point guard, as last year he averaged a career-high 5 per game and is averaging 5 again so far this season. While he hasn't been off to a great start so far this season, we have no doubt he'll turn it around as the new personnel in New Orleans develops chemistry and continue to play like the elite defender and distributor he has for years. At number 3 is the always underrated Danny Green. Before Steph Curry shattered every 3-point record the NBA has ever seen, it was Danny Green who transformed postseason basketball with long-range shooting. Back in 2013, Green broke Ray Allen's record for most 3-pointers in an NBA Finals in an epic 7-game series with the Big 3 Miami Heat. While Ray Allen's shot was the series' defining moment, Green's breakout performance might have been the signal of the NBA's upcoming 3-point revolution. Despite being waived twice in his first 2 years in the NBA, including by the Spurs, and spending most of his 2nd season in the D-League, Green has epitomized the modern 3 and D player. He shot over 40% from beyond the arc for his career, never averaged over 1.2 turnovers per game, and never had a usage rate above 18%. This means Green has a place on literally every single team's offense and can be highly effective in just about any organization. And on the other end of the court, he's made an all-defensive team and likely deserves to have made more. Green posts a solid steal rate and a block rate that's elite for a guard. He's been in ESPN's defensive real plus-minus top 5 shooting guards each of the past 2 years and topped the leaderboard last year. Add it all up, and you can see why Danny Green ranked as the second best shooting guard in the league last year, according to both ESPN's Real Plus Minus and 538's Raptor Plus Minus, behind only James Harden. It's clear the Lakers added a very underappreciated third piece to their LeBron-AD duo, and Green has helped the Lakers start strong and will be a major key to their success moving forward. At number 2, perhaps this summer's biggest free agent bargain, is Jeremy Lamb. We consulted with a lawyer, and his 3-year, $31.5 million contract is actually felony burglary. While Lamb hasn't snagged as many accolades as his college teammate Kemba Walker, his career has still been quite successful. His career narrative may have gotten off track early, after being included in OKC's ill-fated James Harden trade and failing to live up to expectations there. But he's still yet another example of a player who grew immensely after leaving OKC. Each of his seasons in Charlotte brought with it a new career high scoring average, and he can only keep that streak going in Indiana this year considering the extra shots he's gotten so far. While Lamb isn't an elite three-point shooter, he's certainly a capable one, shooting 37% and 34.8% the past 2 seasons. He's also a solid free throw shooter, at 85.3% for his career, and has posted at least that high of a mark in his past 3 seasons. Lamb has also developed into a strong scorer from mid-range, shooting over 53% this year, helping him develop into a more capable lead scorer. His 64% mark at the rim keeps his field goal percentage much higher than other shooting guards who take as many shots as he does. The best part, though, might be Lamb's low turnover rate, especially when you take into account his above-average usage rate. Lamb isn't an outstanding player, simply a very solid one, who's still improving every year. But the lack of appreciation he gets from the media and the incredibly team-friendly nature of his contract compared to the other, less capable wings suggests the league isn't giving him enough respect either. While he's been limited by injuries so far this year, we're very confident Lamb will continue his trend of consistent improvement once he heals up shortly. And finally, at number 1, the most underrated player in the NBA is Yousef Nurkic. While he's been injured to start the season, Nurkic is probably the player that traditional box score statistics overlook the most, but advanced statistics can help us appreciate the impact he brings to a team. Not to mention, his 4-year, $48 million contract is an absolute steal. Similar to Lamb, Nurkic was overshadowed early in his career by another player's storyline, but instead of a trade for a future MVP, Nurkic was caught behind emerging superstar Nikola Jokic in Denver, demoted to the bench when it became apparent that Jokic was the future for Denver at the center position. But just because he couldn't beat out a top 10 player doesn't mean he's not a highly capable player, even a borderline all-star last season in his own right. His 2019 season was nothing short of a monster breakout campaign for the Bosnian center. He averaged 15.6 points per game and 10.4 rebounds, and his 3.2 assists per game were also very strong for a center. But by any metric, where he really shined was the defensive end. He averaged 1.4 blocks and a steal per game. His defensive box plus minus was plus 3.6, and his defensive real plus minus was 14th in the league at 3.35. When you put it all together, the Blazers were 12.9 points per 100 possessions better with Nurkic on the court, and Nurkic ended the season ranked 21st in ESPN's Real Plus Minus and 7th in 538's Raptor Plus Minus, ahead in both metrics of names like Karl Anthony Towns, Draymond Green, and even Kawhi Leonard. While Nurkic is going to miss most of this season recovering from a fractured leg, if he can return to the form he showed last season, we need to start thinking of him as a player competing for all-star teams going forward. Thanks so much for tuning in, and let us know what you think of our list in the comments below. If there's a player we missed, let us know in the comments and we might get to them in a later video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and get ready for our list of our top 5 most overrated players coming out soon. This has been Alex from Just Another Day in the NBA. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more insights, analysis, and not so crazy stories of the NBA.